R1 here. Welcome to the Virtual Realms YouTube channel. Today we're going to take a look at the XM800T, which is a new light scouting vehicle in armored warfare, entering into the mix at Tier 3 and is part of Sophie's lineup of vehicles. The XM800T was developed in the 70s as a potential replacement for the then slightly jaded M113 and M114 troop carriers and armored transports. In the end, it was rejected as not being that great an improvement, if any, over its predecessors, although many of its design elements ended up being used in the Bradley. I think this is a bit of a disservice. The vehicle is faster and, well, better in almost every way, if only marginally so. Better weaponry, better speed, better agility, better view range. In fact, the only thing that I found that it suffered in comparison was, well, two areas really. Compared to the M113, it has less hull armor, although it has better turret armor, and it has a slower turret traverse speed. Other than that, this is definitely the way to go. Now I'm speaking from a historical perspective here. We're kind of ignoring in-game the LAV-150, which is a vehicle that I've never personally been that fond of, to be perfectly honest. So we're going to stop with the comparisons right now because in-game and reality are two entirely different things. Suffice to say that in-game, this vehicle excels at two things in particular. At base capture, which is what we're doing right now. The vehicle is extremely fast and able to handle, as you can see, very rugged terrain. If I find an opening while I'm driving this vehicle, I'm going to get to their base, and I'm going to capture it relatively quickly. While armored warfare and the way its capture mechanics are set up, it makes it difficult to capture a base solo. If you have a good team with you to act as a screen between you and the enemy team, though, well, base capture is a very viable option. In a situation like this, it certainly helps that the vehicle is rather small in silhouette and I can tuck it behind cover fairly easily. The second area that I mentioned that this vehicle excels in is spotting and target designation. It can use its excellent mobility to close quickly on the enemy front lines, find a sneaky position to get into, and then act as a very good set of eyes for the entirety of your team. Spotting is not overly difficult in this vehicle. As I said, its view range is pretty decent, and you're able to keep under cover and behind concealment rather easily. Additionally, if you're in a position where you don't have a lot of natural concealment or hard cover, the fact that its reverse speed is extremely good, well, that's pretty helpful as well. You definitely want to use it if you see incoming artillery or missile strikes because, well, you're so thinly armored they're going to do full damage and you are not going to last long. It's very easy to be the victim of a one-shot kill while driving this vehicle. In case I haven't driven that point home mercilessly enough, suffice to say that if you see that spotted icon come up, you need to move, and move quickly. But fortunately, in this vehicle, you have the speed and agility to do just that.
Identify target. Hostile. Tag. Incoming.
Those same qualities serve this vehicle very well when moving forward also. It's no slouch in the speed department, and it can turn, well, almost on a dime. That becomes very important when you're penetrating behind enemy lines or approaching them to begin with, and crossing rugged terrain, as this vehicle excels at, and you run into something rather nasty that wants to eat your lunch. You can run away with the best of them, and intervening terrain is not that big an obstacle in most cases. This really enhances one of the most important factors that a scout vehicle must have, that being survivability. You don't have armor to rely on. You have to be able to get quickly into a good position to get eyes on the enemy but more importantly, you have to stay alive in that position long enough to do your team some good. Too often, scouts suicide rush into the middle of the enemy and, well, after the first 60 seconds of the fight, they're useless because they're dead.
Identify target. Hostile. Drop.
This is especially important when you're going one step beyond just spotting the enemy. Taking the time to target designate those enemy vehicles you've spotted allows your entire team to do maximum damage to the enemy vehicle. They'll take huge hits from everyone that can get a shell into them, you included. And remember, you get experience for that as well. To showcase just how survivable this vehicle can be, I'm going to show you some excerpts from the first and only match that I had on the new map, Lost Island. This map is gorgeous. The action surrounding it before you even load the game fully and start the match is, well, fairly spectacular. Missiles coming in at ships that are cruising just offshore, helicopters in the air. It's pretty impressive, and I think it's the most beautiful map that I have seen them come out with yet. Now, I am completely unfamiliar with this map, so I'm going to cruise the North Shore and see what mischief I can get into. Hopefully, I'll stay alive long enough to explore a good part of this island. The enemy team, of course, would rather I not do that, and will spare no effort in keeping me from obtaining that objective. I just had to stop and look. The flak coming up off those vessels offshore, that's remarkable. Not knowing the terrain on this map puts me at a severe disadvantage when I run into the enemy. But I'm going to step back for a minute and let you watch as the action unfolds and take in the eye candy that this new map offers. It'll also showcase just how difficult the XM800T can be to kill when you have a little terrain to work with.
Don't you wanna be free when you're standing on the edge of time? One word's all I need to relieve you of your rising grief. Don't you wanna be free when your life's turning
Who knew cliff diving could be part of armored warfare? I don't want to leave you with the impression that the only way to play this vehicle is at the peripheral of the combat zone, hiding in the shadows, or running for your life, evading wildly. You can play this vehicle in a fairly aggressive manner if you choose to do so. It's risky, and you do have to be careful. You have to be very situationally aware and use your surrounding terrain to your best advantage to survive. But it is definitely possible, and it can be an awful lot of fun. I'm going to show you an example of that in this final battle, and then we're going to wrap it up for this episode. It's not going to take very long. We wrap this one up pretty quickly. Yeah, that didn't take too terribly long, and it was a lot of fun. And I apologize to my teammate for clipping him with a stray shot there at the end, but I got a little carried away. So that's our look at the XM800T. It's a fun little vehicle. You may not be the firepower death wagon of your team, but you can have a heck of a lot of fun. And you could make a very, very strong contribution to your team's winning any given match under any circumstances. So the next time you get the urge to play a recon vehicle, whether you prefer sneaking in and capturing a base, spotting at long range, or racing about in high gear with your hair on fire, at Tier 3, this will very likely be your vehicle of choice. That's all I have for you for right now, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up, or better yet, even subscribing to the channel for further content. I'll catch you on the flip side, and until I see you again, good hunting. Thanks for watching. I hope you were entertained. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. And I'll see you next time.